Yes, sir.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, let's move on to a big trial, Lonzo. This is going to be the big hip hop trial. It is a murder trial of an up and coming rapper who has been locked up since 2018 for 2 murders. He goes by YNW MELLY. Young cat, very talented. He was on his way, got caught up where he allegedly killed 2 of his friends and then said it happened in a drive-by. So that's the case that he's fighting right now, even though they have him getting into the car. They have him texting his homeboys back and forth. It was me, like typical shit we always talk about on the show, right, Lonzo? But this happened in Florida, so there's a little twist to it, and I would love your opinion on this. Florida just voted into law recently. You know how when you go to trial, 12 jurors have to convict you. It has to be 12, unanimous, no ifs, ands, or buts. If one person says no, then you got to start all over again. So in Florida now, only 8 of the jurors out of 12 have to. They're bringing these laws in, Lonzo. Talk to me, dude. Now only 8 people out of 12 have to convict you, which means there's going to be a lot more motherfuckers going to jail.
Wow. I remember this dude, man. He's a crazy looking little fucker too, man.
Little crazy looking, scary. You see a demon in him too, man.
Little skinny dude with crazy ass eyes. I never forget when I heard about this case. I was taking my son and my niece's to school, and oddly enough, they both was playing his music in their headphones at the same time. Okay, and I was thinking I was talking to somebody about this dude, talking about the case or something. And I'm like, why are you listening to this little crazy motherfucker? Oh, we like the beach, Dad. Man. So he made a song about killing his friend, if I ain't mistaken.
Called Murder on My Mind.
Then he killed his friend. And then didn't he drive around in the car? The friend in the car?
He drove it to the emergency room and pulled up to the cop that was at the emergency.
Made a video everything. Yeah. And I'm like, dude. And then they found out it was his ass after all. I'm like,
that's what he's fighting. Yep.
Yeah. And in fact, I saw him yesterday. I was looking on Facebook. They were talking about crazy hip hop, crazy looking people on trial. He was one of them. That crazy, sinister ass look.
That's exactly. He looks like they talk demon time. Like he looks like he's on demon time 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the Florida, changing the law?
I do believe that. I know it sounds like crime has gotten better. Gotten worse, but in some places it's not as bad as it used to be, and they may not be keeping the capacity of these private prisons to the level that they need them to be. And in order to do that, they can't depend on 12 people to have a unanimous decision anymore. They got to go for a percentage. And that right there shows you that, what's that? That's 2/3. Yeah, 8 out of 12 is 2/3. So if you get a 2/3 majority against your ass, you're in trouble. And because usually it's 1 or 2 people will hold out. And if they feel there's some injustice is being rendered. But when you got 2/3 say yeah, and the other 1/3 said no, they're gonna be filling up a lot of jail cells. And this is the part, man, cats ain't getting. Do you realize this is part of the game that we're not winning? Every time, even if you are playing the game correctly, they change the goddamn rules. Even if you try to play the game correctly, and once you understand, okay, I got to get 12 people to convict me, I got to have eyewitnesses, I got to have this, all of a sudden, now you need 8. Next, they're gonna tell you, oh, you can get convicted by video, because right now it's hard as hell to convict somebody if even in this takeover shit. I proposed something, why people can't video it and turn it in. It has to, if it's a misdemeanor, has to be witnessed by a cop. Only a felony can be witnessed by a civilian and videotaped and sent in as evidence. So it's you got so many different options. So many different options. They're just ridiculous, and it's going to work. Trust me, no new laws will work in your favor. I don't see that.
Right. No matter how they try to spin it.
Nah, they're gonna put a spin on it, like a son of a gun. They're gonna put a spin like a top on it, and make you think that they're gonna do something good for you. In actuality, it's gonna be bad for everybody. It's the same thing happened with the three strikes law. Shit, it got so crazy around the country when the dope and when gangs and dope got together back in the early '80s. I mean, late '80s, early '90s, and folks are just acting a fool. They came up with the three strikes law, and they did not adjust it. They just three strikes you out. Don't give a damn what you do. And prison population went from one level to the next, damn near overnight. And you got people getting scooped up for misdemeanors or some simple ass bullshit felonies turned into life sentences. And that's one thing I can say about law enforcement in America. They do one or two things. Either they go too soft, like they're doing in California right now, or they go too hard, like they did in '92 in the '90s when they had you locked up for everything. They don't know how to adjust it to make sense for whatever reason. Either they go too hard or they go too soft. So now you can go into a grocery store and steal a bunch of shit and walk out, and a security guard can't do shit but take your name and license plate number. And
do you know how many businesses are shutting down right now, small and large, just for that reason alone of the theft? They can't keep up with the theft. So many not just small businesses, large corporations. It's being felt all over the country right now. It's crazy.
I don't understand why. Who does that make sense to?
Exactly.
For them to raise it up that high. And here's something I heard. I was in Compton. I think I might have mentioned this on the show before, but I'll mention it again just in case I didn't. I was in Compton. They were talking about street takeovers, and for them to arrest everybody as a street takeover, and it boiled down to economics, man. They can't afford to house and process that many people that fast without being a major impact on the overall budget of the police department. Okay, so if you arrest 100 people Friday, 100 people Saturday, 100 people Sunday, you're gonna have some overtime. You're gonna have you gotta hire more people. You gotta have more space to house them. If you don't get them out at a certain time, you gotta feed them, and it's a misdemeanor. That's the problem. It's a misdemeanor. So that means the DA probably ain't gonna prosecute it any damn way. There's no $1,000 limit on doing donuts in the middle of the street. So, but because people realize they ain't gonna do shit, why not do it? If they ain't gonna do shit, why not do it? And all economics.